I'm Marin, and this is Post-its and Pens. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin, and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. Today's video is going to be all about book series. So let's go ahead and get into it. So last year I took you through a list of all of the series that I was still in the middle of reading. I will link that video up in the cards if you want to check that out. But this is going to be an updated version of that because I have since gone through and determined that I want to DNF some of those series. So they are no longer on my currently reading list. I also have been doing a lot of series reading in 2022. So I want to kind of take you through some stats and let you know the number of series I've decided to DNF, the number of series I've finished, the number of series that I have caught up on, and the number of series that I started this year. So that will come throughout this video, but the bulk of this is going to be me going through the list of series that I am still in the middle of reading. And there are 48 of them. So because of that, I'm not going to be giving you synopses. I'm going to put the cover of the first book right here on the screen, and we're gonna just kind of go through what books in those series I still need to read. This is a precursor to my 10 series that I want to finish in 2023. So that video will be coming later. This one's just going to be all about a series update. So here we go. We're gonna start off with the stats from 2022. So in 2022, I took part in Steph Love's Final Book Support Group readathons, where your focus was to read series books. And through doing that, I came up with a list of series that I no longer want to read. And the reason for that is because in 2022, I had set myself a list of 22 series to finish. I'll link that up above. But as I was going through and reading some of those book threes in particular, I realized that I had forgotten a lot of what had happened in the previous two books. And as such, the third book fell very flat for me. And I actually DNF'd a couple of book threes because I had no idea what was going on and I no longer felt connected to the characters. So that got me thinking about the fact that I have all of these other series that I was initially planning on reading, but that I would really need to reread the book one for. And I kind of went through and determined whether I really wanted to do that or not. And as a result, I came up with a list of 50 series that I have since decided to DNF. Now, some of these were DNF'd a long time ago. I just made it official by putting it on the spreadsheet Steph had given us and color coding it red. So series that I knew I wasn't going to finish from ages ago, I went ahead and put on that sheet and color coded, but then I also went through and decided to DNF several other series as well. So that came up to a total of 50 series that I am no longer wanting to read, which says something because I still have 48 series that I do want to read. Like, how does that happen, y'all? I also finished 20 series completely. One of them I'm in the middle of finishing right now. I'm reading book 3, so I'm counting it as finished because it is the 26th. I will get it done before the end of the year. I also caught up on 4 of the series. Now, 2 of those were initially what I thought was book 3s, and it's since been announced that there's another one coming out. I'm talking specifically of the Inheritance games. There is a 4th book coming out in 2023. So I had read the 3rd book thinking that one was it, only to find out that there's a 4th one. So I've since marked that as caught up. And I started 6 new series. So we're gonna go through, those 6 series are going to be on the list of titles I'm going to tell you about, but those are my stats, my series reading stats for 2022. Finished 20, up to date on 4, started 6. And then I decided to DNF a total of 50 of them. That's crazy. So now let's go ahead and dive into the list of series that I am still wanting to read. Some of these, a couple of them in particular, I've not read any of the books in the series, but I want to start them in 2023, so I went ahead and put them on this list. So here we go, y'all. Here's the list of series. Again, I am not going to give you synopses. I am simply going to give you the name of the series, the author, I'll put the cover right here, and I will tell you which books I still need to read in that series. So the first one is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I don't know where I was, but I didn't realize there was a sequel to this. So I do want to read The Testaments in 2023. So that means it is just one single book left to read in that series. The next one is the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. I need to read books 2, 3, and 4. I probably will reread book 1 because, as I said, if I wasn't willing to reread the first book, it didn't go on this list. So that one is one that I still would like to read. Next, I have The Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo, and that is the prequel graphic novel, Demon in the Woods, that I would like to read. Once I've read that, I will have finished that series. I also want to read the King of Scars series by Leigh Bardugo, but I need to read books 1 and 2. Next is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. A fourth book, The Brothers Hawthorne, was announced to be released in 2023, so I need to read book 4. Then we have a mythology series, The Daughters of Zeus series by Caitlin Bevis. I need to read books 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I really loved the first book in this series, so I'm willing to reread that one to see if I want to continue. Next, we're coming up to a series that I started and didn't realize that it was the start of a series, and that was Book of Night by Holly Black. I read that this year, realized it's a duology, so I will read the sequel when it comes out, whenever that may be. Another series by Holly Black is her middle grade graphic novel series, The Good Neighbors. There are 3 of them. I have read the first one. I will reread that and then read 2 and 3. I can probably knock that out in 2023. They are very fast reads. Next, we have the Darkest Mind series by Alexandra Bracken. I only ever read the first book, so I need to read books 2, 3, and 4, but I'm going to have to reread book 1 because I don't really remember a thing about that series. Then we have the Diviner series by Libba Bray. I need to read books 2, 3, and 4. That one I do not need to reread. I remember book 1 well enough where I can just continue on with the series. Then we have the Shadowlands trilogy by Kate Bryan. I absolutely loved the first book in this series, and I'm going to reread it in 2023 and then complete the series because this is one that I absolutely adored and I feel like will still stand up. I remember the tiniest bit of it, but this is like a mystery thriller series about a girl who escaped a serial killer, and I am particularly in love with mystery thriller books now, so I feel like this one will be a great book to reread because I don't remember a ton about the ending, just the setup. Then we have the Gallagher Girls series by Ellie Carter. I need to read 4, 5, and 6. This is not one that I will need to reread. I have been poking at this series throughout the last few years, but hopefully I can finish it completely in 2023. Next, we have another book that I did not realize was the start of a series, and that is Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen. There is going to be a second and probably third book in that series. I liked the first one decently enough where I would like to see where it's going, so I've put that on this list tentatively, and we will see how long it takes for those books to come out, and then ultimately if I still wish to read them once that book is released, because I do not think it has a release date yet. Then we have a series that I have not started, which is the Finlay Donovan series by Elle Cosimano. I want to read this series because everyone and their mother absolutely seems to love it. The third book is going to be the Literally Dead book club pick for February, and I've not read any of the books. So I definitely want to read this series because Kayla at Books and Lala absolutely loves it. Pretty much everyone who's read it has absolutely adored it, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I am very excited to finally get around to reading that one. Next, we have a YA series that has to do with mythology. It is the Atlantean series by Kevin Emerson. I still need to read books 2 and 3, but will need to reread the first one because I do not remember much of anything that happened. Then we have a series that I started in 2022, which was Eon by Alison Goodman. I need to read the sequel, Eona, and finish that series off. Those books are very chunky. It took me a while to get through the first one, but I do want to read the second one because I own it, so need to cross that one off. Next, we have the Athena Club series by Theodora Goss. I have read the first one, but I want to read books 2 and 3. This is not one I will need to reread. I still remember enough of it where I can go ahead and finish the series off. Then we have the 39 Clues series, which was started by Rick Riordan, and a whole bunch of other authors have like written books in that series. I thought there were a ton more books than there actually are, but it turns out I've read books 1 through 9 and I only need to read the final one. So hopefully I can cross that off. It's a middle grade series, should be a quick read. I own the 10th book. I just for some reason was thinking there were more in the series, but since there's only one, we're gonna go ahead and knock it off. The 10th book is actually written by Margaret Peterson Haddix, though, not Rick Riordan. Then we have another series that I started in 2022, which is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I read book 1, thought it was really cute, want to go ahead and finish the series off. We also have the Fractured Fables series by Alex E. Harrow. I read the first one in 2022, need to read the sequel. We have the Hex Hall series by Rachel Hawkins. I own books 1, 2, and 3. Not the 4th one, but I need to read 2, 3, and 4. I am probably going to have to reread Hex Hall though, because I don't remember a ton about it. Although I'm hoping that maybe I can just find like a recap, because that would be better rather than me having to start the first one all over again. I liked it decently well, but not a ton. But since I own those other books in the series, I want to go ahead and read this one. The next series is another middle grade series, and that is the League of Princes series by Christopher Healy. These are just good times. They are told from the point of view of the princes from all of the fairy tales, and they get up to some shenanigans, y'all. I read book 1 in 2021, want to go ahead and finish the rest of the series. I will not need to reread it because they are more like companion adventures than necessarily straight up sequels. Next, we have the Mara Dyer series by Michelle Hodkin. I need to read books 2 and 3, but I will need to reread the first one. I remember the first one having like a really nice, creepy, eerie atmosphere. And again, since I'm more of like a mystery thriller girl these days, I feel like that one will be fun to reread. So I'm not too upset about having to reread book 1 before I can finish the series. Then we have a series where book 2 is going to be published this year, but book 3 has not been written yet, and that is the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones. I read My Heart is a Chainsaw, didn't really love it, but it ended on a cliffhanger, and so I want to know what the heck's going to happen next, so I am going to check out book 2. I have a feeling this could potentially be a Literally Dead book club pick as well, because Kayla really loves Stephen Graham Jones, so I want to make sure I have that on the list to continue, because my goal every year, the last 2 years, has been to read all of the Literally Dead book club picks. Then we have the Aurora Cycle by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I read the first one in 2022, really enjoyed it. Own books 2 and 3, so want to go ahead and knock those out. Then we have another book series by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. That's the Illuminae Files series. I have read the 3 main novels, but I've got the little novella Memento left to read, so I want to read that, complete the series. That one's going to be super easy to do. It's like this big. All right, then we are working on my overarching goal of reading all of the Nancy Drew books by Carolyn Keene. I read the first 12 in 2022. I want to continue that, read along, readathon, whatever. I want to finish reading the whole series. So I will be doing books 13 through 24 in 2023, but there are 56 original Nancy Drew books, and I would like to read them all, but we'll see how long I can keep that up, because this year will only get me through 24. Next is a book trilogy that I didn't realize there was a book 3. I thought there were only 2 books and I read both of them and enjoyed them, and that is the Metamorphoses series by Sarah McCarry. I need to read book 3. These are, again, not direct sequels. They are companion novels, so it won't really matter that I read books 1 and 2 years ago. Book 3 is probably going to stand on its own. She has a very interesting writing style, kind of dreamy, atmospheric. A lot of people did not like it, but they are Greek retellings, and I am a fan of that, and I actually really liked the first 2, so I'm curious to read the 3rd and cross this off my series to read list. Next up, we have the Wayward Children series by Shauna McGuire. I have only read the first book. I want to at least give the second book a go, and then we'll determine if I want to actually read all the way through the series. This is a series that is not complete yet, as I'm sure most of you know. 10 books are scheduled, so we'll see. We'll see if I can stay with it. I know some people have not necessarily liked this series. Some people absolutely adore it. The first one was okay. I didn't love it, but I am curious to read a little bit more to see if my feelings might change. Then we have a graphic novel series, the Olympian series by George O'Connor. I need to read books 7 through 12. Basically, each graphic novel is about one of the Greek gods, so it doesn't matter that I haven't read them in a while, but I need to start on book 7, which is the book about Ares. Next, we have the Akata Witch series, which is not the name of the series. Here's the actual name. I'm afraid I'm going to mispronounce it, so I'm not going to say it. I'm also probably going to mispronounce her name. I apologize, but this is the series by Nnedi Okorafor, and I need to read books 2 and 3. I read Akata Witch in grad school, so I'm taking it back a ways to like 2010. So I am going to need to reread that first book, but I remember really enjoying that. We had a really great conversation about that book for one of my grad school courses. I'm looking forward to rereading that and then continuing the series. And next up, we have Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. Of course, volume 5 is supposed to be coming out in 2023. I caught up to what had been published in 2022. Want to go ahead and read that last one. The next series is the Black City series by Elizabeth Richards. I have read the first book, need to read books 2 and 3. I own the second book. The second book is called Phoenix. I do not own the third one, and I do not own the first one, but I am willing to reread the first one. This is a vampire type series, I think. I don't read a ton of paranormal books anymore, especially not YA paranormal books, but I remember liking this one, so wouldn't mind rereading it just to see if it stands up, and then ultimately deciding whether I want to finish. I do own book 2, so it would be nice to actually read it and get my money's worth, but we'll see. Then I have 2 series by Rick Riordan. The first one is the Magnus Chase series. I read the first book last year at the very end of 2021, so want to go ahead and finish books 2 and 3. I own book 2, not book 3. And then I saw that he is releasing a 6th book in the Percy Jackson series, The Chalice of the Gods, I believe, and that is supposed to come out later this year. I have pre-ordered it because I own all of the Percy Jackson and the Percy Jackson spin-offs except for the Trials of Apollo. Have not read that one yet. Not sure if I really want to, but I do want to read that 6th new Percy Jackson book. Then we have Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi, I think is how you pronounce it. This is a 2-part graphic novel. I've read the first one, want to read the second one. We have the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. I read the first one, didn't read the rest of them. Can't remember what happened in the first one, but remember that I liked it. So it is going to be a goal in 2023 to reread that trilogy and finish that off. Next, we have another graphic novel series, which is a Greek retelling. It is The Age of Bronze by Eric Shanower. I just need to read the final installment of that. This is difficult to get your hands on. I had to like interlibrary loan request the previous book, and it took a really long time for him to finish this series. So hopefully I can get my hands on a copy through the library and finish that off in 2023, but we'll just play it by ear. All right, y'all, we're almost done. I'm on the last page. Next, we have The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I read the first book this year, absolutely loved it, want to finish the series. The series is not complete though, so I just will be kind of working through and catching up. And I believe she is working on the next book right now. She's writing it right now, so we'll kind of see. She has promised that it will be finished. I'm willing to wait to see how it all shakes out, because in the meantime, I do have plenty of books in that series that I can read to like hold me over. Then we have the Study series by Maria V. Snyder. I started that series early on in 2022 with Poison Study, really enjoyed it and need to read books 2 and 3. I have them on my Kindle, so we'll see if I can get to that one. Then we have the Mouse, or Moss, I don't know how to pronounce it, series by Art Spiegelman. I read the first volume years ago, would like to go ahead and read the second. We have the Mysterious Benedict Society series by Trenton Lee Stewart. This is another middle grade series. I had read books 1, 2, and 3. I need to read the prequel, which is number 0, and the newest one, which is number 4, and that will cross that series off. Next, we have the Bartimaeus series by Jonathan Stroud. I read the 3rd book in that series this year. Really loved it, but there is a prequel. So I still need to read the prequel to count that as a finished series, so that is on this list. Then we have The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. I read The Hate U Give when it was released and still need to read the prequel, which is Concrete Rose, so we'll see if I can get to that in 2023. We have the Codename Verity series by Elizabeth Wein. These books are all companion books, not sequels. So I read Codename Verity, but there are actually 3 other books in this series, which she's numbered number 1, 3, and 4. So they are all World War II era books, and I'm looking forward to reading them. We have the Queen's Thief series by Megan Whalen Turner. I have read the first 2, need to read 3, 4, 5, 6. This is one that I will not need to reread. I still remember enough of it that I can go ahead and just continue. And then we have the final series, y'all, the final one, which is the Wilderwood series by Hannah Witten, and I just need to read book 2 in the duology. So there you have it. Those are the 48 series that I am still wanting to read and finish, at least right now. So I will come back at the end of 2023 and do another version of this video and let you know how I did, how many books are still on the series, how many new ones I added to the series, and we will just continue this and see if I can't get this number of series that I'm in the middle of down to a nice, manageable number, because 48 is still a bit high. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, everyone.